Hello mathematicians, welcome to our last video on trapezoids. I know we've talked a lot about trapezoids, but this is the last one. So we're talking about the mid-segment today. So right here we have a trapezoid, but we have this extra line right here, right? Well, that's actually the mid-segment. So hopefully you have some colors with you and this page. And I would like you guys to highlight this top line and this bottom line. These are called the bases. So I'm going to name the top base, base 1, and the bottom one, base 2. Our mid-segment is this middle line right here. And mid obviously means middle. That means that the EF is cutting our trapezoid exactly in half. So if we were to fold it up like a book, the ends would meet perfectly. So you could either write mid-segment or you can just draw a little arrow like me. And you can actually find the length of this line using a formula. I'm going to write it over here and I'm going to use some color coding. I'm going to use MS for mid-segment. So the length of the mid-segment is equal to base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. So the next couple problems all have to deal with finding the lengths of either the bases or the mid-segment. And you can do this just by using this formula. So let's go ahead and get started with problem 1. It reads, if AB is equal to 14 and DC equals 26, find EF. Well, you're probably like, what is he even talking about? It's referring to this trapezoid up here. So I'm going to draw my trapezoid over here. So if we look, AB up here is our first base. So if AB is 14, then the 14 goes up here. DC, again, it's referring to trapezoid on top, is our bottom line. It's our bottom base. So the 26 goes down here. EF is our mid-segment. So it's asking us, what is this mid-segment right here? Well, let's go ahead and use a formula. So we have that the mid-segment is equal to, use the black, my top base plus my bottom base divided by 2. That is the formula, you guys. So 14 plus 26 is 40, I believe. I'm not using a calculator. And if I divide this by 2, 40 divided by 2 is 20. So my mid-segment is 20. And that's it. That's how you plug and chug the formula, okay? So let me see. Let's try number 2. In case you guys maybe need an extra example. I'm going to draw my mid-segment. Well, that's a bad line. Whoop. Let me clear that up because I know some of you guys, it's going to drive you guys crazy they did that way. Okay, cool. So again, AB is the top base. So if the top is 7, DC is the bottom one. Remember, this is DC right here. This is 31. It's asking us for EF, which is the mid-segment. You guys do not have to recognize the layout of this trapezoid, by the way. If I give you guys a test, I will always have a picture or like have the measurements right on it, okay? That's totally not fair. Okay, so mid-segment. So it's my top plus my bottom base divided by 2. So that is 7 plus 31 is 38 divided by 2. And that gives me 19. And we are done. So let's kick up the difficulty a little bit. Sometimes they're going to give you problems where they involve variables like this trapezoid right here. So for trapezoid PQRS, which is this guy right here, Y and Z are the midpoints. So this is the mid segment right here. Obviously by picture. Find YZ. So you might be saying, well, they already gave us YZ. It's right here. But what they mean is that they want an actual whole number. As you can see, we have this variable right here. So they want us to give an answer without that variable. How do we do that? We have to find what the variable is and plug it back in, okay? So we're going to use our formula. Let me erase this. So the formula is that my mid-segment, so my mid-segment is this guy. So that means that 5x minus 19, which is my mid-segment, should equal my top base plus my bottom base divided by 2. All right, so we use the formula. And now we have an algebraic equation. Honestly, geometry is a lot of taking shapes and writing them somewhere into an equation that we can then solve. So what we're going to do here is that now that we have an equation, we could solve for x and then plug it back in to get an actual nice whole number, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Let's solve for x. So I have this 2 and it is dividing, right? So to get rid of it, I have to multiply by the same number. I want to get rid of 2, so I'm going to multiply by 2. But when I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So these cross out. And everything at the top comes straight down. 38 plus x plus 14. And if it helps you, you can even make your dotted line. I know that helps some of you guys. Okay. And on my left-hand side, 2 doesn't cancel out, so I'm going to have to bring it down. Remember, this 2 is multiplying with all of this, okay? Not just with the 5. You have to remember that's also multiplying with the 19. So I'm going to write it like this. 2 times all of this. I'll bring in my equal sign. Well, now, I don't like these parentheses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of it by distributing. Because the 2 is multiplying with all this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do what it wants and multiply it out. So 2 times 5x is 10x. And then 2 times negative 19 is negative 38. My equal sign comes down. My 38 comes down. X and 14. So now I'm going to check if there's anything I can combine on either side, okay? So looking over here, I can't combine anything because this has an x and this is a whole number. So I can't combine anything. Looking on my right hand side, I have a whole number and this other whole number right there. I can combine those. So 38 plus 14 is, let me do some mental math, I believe 52. And I cannot forget about my x equals 10x minus 38. If you know how to solve for this, go ahead and skip the video. Skip the video a little bit forward, okay? Because you don't want to miss the last step when we plug it back in. So now I can't combine anything on either side. So what I want to do is I'm going to get x to one side. You see how I have x over here and over here? I want to get x by itself, so I can't have x on both sides. I have to move one over. This one's smaller because there's an imaginary 1 right here. And this one has a 10. So I'm going to move my smaller one over. So it's adding. So I'm going to do the opposite and subtract my x. And what I do to one side, I do to the other side. 10x minus 1x, because it's only one of them. Remember, there's like an imaginary 1 right here. Gives me 9x minus 38 equals 52. I'm almost done. I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to move over this negative 38. It's subtracting, so I'm going to add by 38. No, that cancels out. This cancels out. And I get 9x equals 90. My last step is, I ran out of room, so I'm going to move this over here. I have 9x equals 90. I want to get x by itself, so I'm not done because I have this 9 right here. 9 and x are multiplying. So to get rid of it, I have to divide by 9. And when I do to one side, I do to the other side. 9 divided by 9 is 1. All right, if you have 9 candies and there's 9 friends, each of you get 1. So my x comes down, and 90 divided by 9 is 10. So I am done. X equals 10. But let's go back to our question. Were they asking us what x is? They were not. They're asking us for the mid segment, right? They're asking us what this guy is. So we are not done. So the mid segment is 5x, 5x minus 19. And we just found out what x is. So what we're going to do now is, hold up, I kind of drew that a little too far. Let me bring him down. What we're going to do now is we're going to take our answer and plug it in there, because that will get rid of the x and give us a nice clean number. So 5, but instead of x, I'm going to put in 10 minus 19. 5 times 10 is 50 minus 19, and that gives me 31. And this is my final answer. My mid segment is equal to 31. We got a nice clean number. So go ahead and try out the ones we did not do. So try out number 3, 4, 6, and 7 on your own. Literally all you need is this formula, you guys. You just plug it in. Sometimes you're going to have to solve for x. Sometimes you're just going to work with nice clean numbers and get a straight answer, okay? If you have any questions,